Hello, little friends. Hello, hello. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing? Hello, Ding Dong Quets. Hello. Thank you for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Good morning to you. Good evening to me. Thank you for the subby. I really appreciate it. That means a heckin' lot to me. Welcome in. Tonight we're reading some Grimm's fairy tales. I have a Grimm's complete fairy tale collection that I've only really read a few stories out of, so I'm excited to read some more. I do like me some fairy tales, though of course these ones are a little bit more serious than, say, Disney fairy tales. These are sort of like the more original versions. And there's a lot that I'm not familiar with. I'm really only familiar with like Cinderella, what's another one? Rapunzel. Now I'm not sure. There's some that I'm not sure if they're Grimm's fairy tales or Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. For example, Sleeping Beauty, I'm not sure who wrote that one originally, but there's many here, so we have a lot to read. Definitely not going to read all of them, of course, but yes. Also, if there's a bit of background noise, I do have some ambient noise going right now. I have forest wind summer ambient noise is what it's called, but I also have my air conditioner going, so if you hear kind of like a hum in the background, it could also be my air conditioner, but hopefully it's not too bad. Dink Dunk says, I'll be lurking while getting ready for work. Excellent, thank you. And you know what? Before we start, because you subscribed, you get your name on the screen up here. Your name is supposed to be on my model, but I'm not quite sure how to do that on my PNG tuber, so what I will do is put it on my 3D model so that you can see it next time I stream with my 3D model, which will most likely be on Thursday, which is my actual birthday. And we'll be doing some community games on Thursday for anybody who wants to join for a birthday celebration that day. And for anybody watching who may not already know, I am doing a super chill birthday summer subathon and celebrating my birthday all month long with a subathon. If you look at the pinned message in the chat, you can see the link to the subathon menu where you can see all of the rewards. There's also a link on that menu to my Twitch as well as my coffee. And yeah, thanks everybody for your support. We already started it out pretty strong, so I'm heckin' excited. I think we're at 12 subs now with Ding Dong Sub. I actually have a little notebook, I'm writing it down. I probably should use a spreadsheet or something. I probably will eventually, but so now we're at 12 subs, and Ding Dong gets their name up on the screen as well as up on my model on a little sticky note. So, because it is actually quite easy for me to create the little sticky note, let me do that really quick. And we'll get your name up there, Ding Dong. And welcome in. Thank you for being here. Let's see, and I hope you have an excellent day at work, and thank you for the lurk, by the way. Oh yes, and you guys, if you're not already following Ding Dong Quets, please do so. Let's see. They recently did a stream of them putting together the case for their computer, which is super cool looking. So you should definitely check them out. Okay, let me see here. I gotta make sure I spell it right. Yours is longer, so I'm gonna have to turn yours sideways a little bit here on the sticky note. Perfect. We will pop that on up here in just a moment. Alright. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, or perhaps Wednesday already. Probably Wednesday for Dink Dunk. Hope it's gonna be a great day for everybody. Don't mind my keyboard tappies. I actually really like the sound of keyboard tappies. It is one of my more favorite ASMR sounds. There we go, look at that big sticky note. We're gonna minimize that a smidge, a scotch even, and put it right over here next to DJ Darth Face. I'm not sure if you guys can read that very well, but hopefully you can. We've got Dink Dunk Queds, DJ Darth Face, Tantalus, and Aztecer so far, of people who have subbed during the Subathon, and I really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It means a whole lot to me. Okay, I'm going to hydrate, and then we're going to get into our stories. Alright. Since Cinderella is one of my favorite stories, at least the Disney version, I'm going to read that one first, I think. And of course, this version is going to be much different. Alright. What I like about this book as well, the one that I have has a ribbon bookmark on it, which I think is just so cool. I love when books have that. I used to have a bookmark made out of beads, but I'm not really sure what happened to it. I suppose I could always make one, but I love when the books come with the bookmark ribbon attached. Makes it feel more special. Alright, Cinderella. The wife of a rich man fell sick, and as she felt that her end was drawing near, she called her only daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear child, be good and pious, and then the good God will always protect you, and I will look down on you from heaven and be near you." Then she closed her eyes and departed. Every day the maiden went out to her mother's grave and wept, and she remained pious and good. When winter came, the snow spread a white sheet over the grave, and when the spring sun had drawn it off again, the man had taken another wife. The woman had brought 2 daughters into the house with her, who were beautiful and fair of face, but vile and black of heart. Now began a bad time for the poor stepchild. "Is the stupid goose to sit in the parlor with us?" said they. "He who wants to eat bread must earn it. Out with the kitchen wench." They took her pretty clothes away from her, put an old gray bedgown on her, and gave her wooden shoes. "Just look at the proud princess, how decked out she is," they cried and laughed, and led her into the kitchen. There she had to do hard work from morning till night, get up before daybreak, carry water, light fires, cook and wash. Besides this, the sisters did her every imaginable injury. They mocked her and emptied her peas and lentils into the ashes, so that she was forced to sit and pick them out again. In the evening, when she had worked till she was weary, she had no bed to go to, but she had to sleep by the fireside in the ashes, and since on that account she always looked dusty and dirty, they called her Cinderella. It happened that the father was once going to the fair, and he asked his 2 stepdaughters what he should bring back for them. "Beautiful dresses," said one. "Pearls and jewels," said the second. "And you, Cinderella," said he, "what will you have?" "Father, break off for me the first branch which knocks against your hat on your way home." So he bought beautiful dresses, pearls, and jewels for his 2 stepdaughters, and on his way home, as he was riding through a green thicket, a hazel twig brushed against him and knocked off his hat. Then he broke off the branch and took it with him. When he reached home, he gave his stepdaughters the things which they had wished for, and to Cinderella he gave the branch from the hazel bush. Cinderella thanked him, went to her mother's grave, and planted the branch on it. and wept so much that the tears fell down on it and watered it. And it grew, however, and became a handsome tree. Thrice a day Cinderella went and sat beneath it, and wept and prayed, and a little white bird always came on the tree, and if Cinderella expressed a wish, the bird threw down to her what she had wished for. It happened, however, that the king appointed a festival which was to last 3 days, and to which all the beautiful young girls in the country were invited, in order that his son might choose himself a bride. When the 2 stepsisters heard that they too were to appear among the number, they were delighted, called Cinderella, and said, "Comb our hair for us, brush our shoes, and fasten our buckles, for we are going to the festival at the king's palace." Cinderella obeyed, but wept because she too would have liked to go with them to the dance, and begged her stepmother to allow her to do so. "You go, Cinderella," said she. "You are dusty and dirty and go to the festival? You have no clothes and shoes, and yet you would dance." As, however, Cinderella went on asking, the stepmother at last said, "I have emptied a dish of lentils into the ashes for you. If you have picked them out again in 2 hours, you shall go with us." The maiden went through the back door into the garden and called, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to pick the good into the pot, the bad into the crop." Then 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at last all birds beneath the sky came whirring and crowding in and alighted among the ashes. And the pigeons nodded with their heads and began to pick, 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 and the rest began also pick, pick, and gathered all the good grains into the dish. Hardly had 1 hour passed before they had finished, and all flew out again. Then the girl took the dish to her stepmother, and was glad, and believed that now she would be allowed to go with them to the festival. But the stepmother said, "No, Cinderella, you have no clothes, and you cannot dance. You would only be laughed at." And as Cinderella wept at this, the stepmother said, "If you can pick 2 dishes of lentils out of the ashes for me in 1 hour, you shall go with us." And she thought to herself that she most certainly cannot do. When the stepmother had emptied the 2 dishes of lentils amongst the ashes, the maiden went through the back door into the garden and cried, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds under heaven, come and help me to pick the good into the pot, the bad into the crop." Nabu, hello! Welcome in, welcome. How are we doing tonight? How are we doing? Hope you're having a good Tuesday. If you are not already following Nabu Pookins, please do so. Super fun streamer. What have you been up to, Nabu? We are, let's see, they were playing 2 Strikes. Ooh, what is 2 Strikes? Is it a sports game? Is there sports ball involved? But welcome in. We are reading some Grimm's fairy tales, and right now we are reading Cinderella. I don't know that I've ever actually read this version before. Let's see. Okay. Nabu says, "It's a samurai game. Get cut twice and you die, so lots of tents standing perfectly still, waiting for the perfect opening and pairing." Oh, that sounds cool. I feel like I've heard of this one before, or something very similar. That sounds really fun. But yes, welcome. Get cozy. Maybe grab a warm drink and a blanket. Alright. Then 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at length all the birds beneath the sky, came whirring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes. And the doves nodded with their heads and began to pick, and the others began also pick, and gathered all the good seeds into the dishes, and before half an hour was over they had already finished, and all flew out again. Then the maiden carried the dishes to the stepmother, and was delighted, and believed that she might now go with them to the festival. But the stepmother said, "All this will not help you. You cannot go with us, for you have no clothes and cannot dance. We should be ashamed of you." With this, she turned her back on Cinderella and hurried away with her 2 proud daughters. As no one was now at home, Cinderella went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." Then the bird threw a gold and silver dress down to her, and slippers embroidered with silk and silver. She put on the dress with all speed and went to the festival. Her stepsisters and the stepmother, however, did not know her, and thought she must be a foreign princess, for she looked so beautiful in the golden dress. They never once thought of Cinderella and believed that she was sitting at home in the dirt, picking lentils out of the ashes. The prince went to meet her, took her by the hand, and danced with her. He would dance with no other maiden and never let go of her hand, and if anyone else came to invite her, he said, "This is my partner." Nebby says, "I also tried to play V Rising, but it was too difficult for me." It is a very fun game. The battling can be quite difficult. If you end up following the what am I trying to say? The quests that it gives you. The quests are almost like a tutorial that kind of help you to go through the game. And yeah, can help you like not get into over your head at first. Let's see, Tabatai, hello, hello, welcome in. How are you doing today? Tabatai says, "Sounds like a skill issue, Nebu." Nebu says, "I put it on easiest difficulty, but still died." Yeah, it can be difficult if you, like I said, if you start out and just kind of follow the tutorials and don't travel too far away from where you start. That can be extremely helpful, because if you kind of just try to go off and do your own thing, yeah, you're probably going to get defeated a lot. You got to kind of work your way up. You get stronger by equipping better gear. So as soon as you start equipping higher gear, which you have to craft, which is kind of what like the tutorial quests have you do, then you get stronger and more easily able to defeat the big baddies. See, Tepidai says, "Just woke up, still tired and hungry. You should get something to eat." Good morning, Tepidai. Good evening for me. If you're not already following Tepidai Tilezane, please do so. Amazing artist. Tepidai is making one of our animated emotes for the Subathon, and I'm so super excited. It looks really cute so far. You can see a sneak peek of it in the Discord if you want to join my Discord. Let me see. I found out, Tebatai, I thought that I only unlocked one standard emote and one animated emote, but I actually unlocked 2, which is awesome. So we're gonna have to think of some other ones to add. You don't have to make them though, if you don't want. That's totally fine. I could make them. I actually have one in mind for the other animated one. It's the little bunny. I saw someone else has the same one, probably because they got it on Etsy like I did, but it's the bunny booty dance. Oh, we have it on our Discord actually. It's the bunny booty shake on Discord, so I might make that the second one. Let's see, but we'll see. We'll see. Nabi says, "The tutorial told me to fight a wolf boss, but it killed me." Yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough. It's definitely easier if you play with other people. You're welcome to join our community game, Nebu. We'll be playing it hopefully next week. But we'll see. We might actually... I'm not sure. We might actually have to put it on hold for a bit, simply because not everybody is able to join at nighttime, because I will be going back to nighttime streams, actually starting the week after next. So we might be able to do one more daytime one next week, but we'll see. We'll see how my schedule goes. But yeah, you're welcome to join for sure. Let's see. It says, "Please make animated emote." Wow, putting it on hold because you just found out that I also have the game. That's not why, I swear. Oh man, I don't know why, but I have to hydrate a whole lot today. I think I've been kind of dehydrated today, guys. I might have to refill my water soon. Okay, so Tebatai, tonight we are reading some Grimm's fairy tales, and right now we are reading Cinderella. ASMR reading equals hydrate, that's right. Yeah, a lot of reading does make me have to hydrate a lot more often, that's for sure. Alright, guys. Let's see, where were we? Oh, yes, the prince said, "This is my partner." She danced till it was evening, and then she wanted to go home. But the king's son said, "I will go with you and bear you company," for he wished to see to whom the beautiful maiden belonged. She escaped from him, however, and sprang into the pigeon house. The king's son waited until her father came, and then he told him that the strange maiden had leapt into the pigeon house. The old man thought, "Can it be Cinderella?" And they had to bring him an axe and a pickaxe that he might hew the pigeon house to pieces, but no one was inside it. And when they got home, Cinderella lay in her dirty clothes among the ashes, and a dim little oil lamp was burning on the mantelpiece, for Cinderella had jumped quickly down from the back of the pigeon house and had run to the little hazel tree, and there she had taken off her beautiful clothes and laid them on the grave, and the bird had taken them away again, and then she had placed herself in the kitchen amongst the ashes in her grey gown. Next day, when the festival began afresh and her parents and the stepsisters had gone once more, Cinderella went to the hazel tree and said, "Shiver and quiver, my little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." Then the bird threw down a much more beautiful dress than on the preceding day, and when Cinderella appeared at the festival in this dress, everyone was astonished at her beauty. There's an ad break in about 1 minute, you guys. I do apologize if it is startling, and hopefully it won't be too loud. Let's see. The king's son had waited until she came and instantly took her by the hand and danced with no one but her. When others came and invited her, he said, "She is my partner." When evening came, she wished to leave, and the king's son followed her and wanted to see into which house she went. But she sprang away from him and into the garden behind the house. There stood a beautiful tall tree in which hung the most magnificent pears. She clambered so nimbly between the branches like a squirrel that the king's son did not know where she had gone. He waited until her father came and said to him, "The strange maiden has escaped from me, and I believe she has climbed up the pear tree." The father thought, "Can it be Cinderella?" Oh, I think I see where this story's going. I'm actually not used to this version of it. And had an axe brought and cut the tree down, but no one was on it. And when they got into the kitchen, Cinderella lay there amongst the ashes, as usual, for she had jumped down on the other side of the tree, had taken the beautiful dress to the bird on the little hazel tree, and put on her grey gown. Let's see, Never says, "Tell the king that sneakily following your date to find out where she lives is creepy." It kind of is. Don't be a creeper, guys. Don't be like the prince, okay? Give her some space, guys. Let's see. On the third day, when the parents and sisters had gone away... Oh, ad break. Let's wait till the ad break is over. Again, I do apologize if it is loud. Hydration station. Welcome back from the ad break. Alright. On the third day, when the parents and sisters had gone away, Cinderella went once more to her mother's grave and said to the little tree, "Shiver and quiver, my little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." And now the bird threw down to her a dress which was more splendid and magnificent than any she had had yet, and the slippers were golden. And when she went to the festival in the dress, no one knew how to speak for astonishment. The king's son danced with her only, and if anyone invited her to dance, he said, "She is my partner." Ding Dong says, "Wow, Tebby woke up. Does that mean they actually slept? Perhaps." Perhaps Tebby is sleepy and hungry. Tebby needs snacks, Ding Dong. Send Tebby snackies. Nebu says, a lot of people say the prince in Disney's Sleeping Beauty is creepy for kissing a sleeping girl he doesn't know, but I saw someone do an analysis that showed that the two already knew each other and are probably already boyfriend-girlfriend, because she sings a song about him in the beginning. Oh, interesting. Yes, I'm not familiar with the original version of it, and I'm not actually sure if that is a Grimm's fairy tale or a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see here. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the stories are in any kind of like alphabetical order or anything, which would have been really handy, honestly. So I kind of have to just like browse through them. But yeah, I'm not sure. Dig Dunk says, I only have white monster and kiwis. Kiwis are good. Nevi says, Teppertai always DMs me to tell me she's hungry. Kiwis are good. I don't know about white monster though. My body does not like caffeine. Although I have had coffee lately with caffeine in it, and I noticed that it makes me feel very energized and like I gotta go fast, but like too much. A little bit too much though. So I think my body still doesn't like caffeine, but is getting a little bit more used to it, which probably isn't a good thing, but I don't really drink it much anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I don't think I could handle a monster. I don't think I could do it. Let's see. Okay. When evening came, Cinderella wished to leave, and the king's son was anxious to go with her, but she escaped from him so quickly that he could not follow her. The king's son had, however, used a stratagem, and had caused the whole staircase to be smeared with pitch, and there, when she ran down, had the maiden's left slipper, which remained sticking. That seems very extreme to me. The king's son picked it up, and it was small and dainty, and all golden. Next morning he brought it to the father, and said to him, No one shall be my wife but she whose foot fits this golden slipper. Then the two sisters were glad, for they had pretty feet. The eldest went with the shoe into her room and wanted to try it on, and her mother stood by, but she could not get her big toe into it, and the shoe was too small for her. Then her mother gave her a knife and said, Cut the toe off. When you are queen, you will have no more need to go on foot. The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. Then he took her on his horse and his bride and rode away with her. They were, however, obliged to pass the grave, and there, on the hazel tree, sat the two pigeons, and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe, it is too small for her, the true bride waits for you. Wow, cutting off her toe, that's extreme too. The prince has a thing for feet. The prince might have a thing for feet. I had never really thought about that until reading this version of the story. He might have a feet thing. Or maybe just a shoe thing. Maybe the prince just really likes sparkly shoes, which is totally valid as well. Let's see. Then he looked at her foot and saw how the blood was streaming from it. He turned his horse round and took the false bride home again, and said she was not the true one, and that the other sister was to put the shoe on. Just this, everybody just trying on this shoe that is now just like covered in blood. It's so gross. Let's see. Then this one went into her chamber and got her toe safely into the shoe, but her heel was too large. Oh golly, so her mother gave her a knife and said, Cut a bit off your heel. When you are queen, you will have no more need to go on foot. I can't even like imagine. It's like making my skin crawl thinking about it. Let's see. The maiden cut a bit off of her heel, forced her foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. He took her on his horse as his bride and rode away with her. But when they passed by the hazel tree, two little pigeons sat on it and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe, it is too small for her, the true bride waits for you. Not to mention that he just, like, doesn't recognize any of their faces. He's like, oh, it could be you. Like, wouldn't he just recognize her face? I mean, they've already danced, like, a few times together, right? Let's see. Debbie says that's what capitalism does to a person. A thing for shoes, a thing for golden shoes. He looked down at her foot and saw how the blood was running out of her shoe and how it had stained her white stocking. Then he turned his horse and took the false bride home again. This also is not the right one, said he. Have you no other daughter? No, said the man. There is still a little stunted kitchen wench which my late wife left behind, but she cannot possibly be the bride. See, in this version, the father is like just as bad as the stepmother, which is so sad. I like the other versions where he's not like awful. Let's see. Nibby says he wasn't looking at her face during the dance. Perhaps he was looking at the sparkly shoes, right? He has a shoe thing. Tabatai says, I'm hungry. You slept for 5 hours? That's good. That's better than no sleep. 100%. Ding Dong says, I have kiwis if you want. Also, 5 is better than 4. This is true. I need like, at the very minimum, I need 7 hours, guys. But 8 hours is like 100% better for me. But 7 is okay. 6 is not great, but I'll take it. 8 is the best for me. 8 is a magic number. Nebu says, sometimes I'm also not looking at the face when I dance with someone. Nebu, you should look at their face. You should behave yourself. Unless they're into it, unless they've given you consent to not look at their face when you're dancing. Otherwise, they might not dance with you again. Just saying. Tebedai says, I wished I can photosynthesis. Oh, exactly. I wish we could just breathe air and, like, eat mana out of the air, right? But I don't know, I like food too much. I like food too much. Or do you mean, like, not sleeping? I mean, I guess it has more to do with eating, though, right? I wish we didn't have to sleep. I think that would be great. But I don't know, there's something nice about sleeping, though, too, I guess. Nebu says, I'm looking at the personality. Oh, yes. That's not what that is. Ding Dong says, also, do you peel the kiwi, or do you just eat it with the skin? And oh, no, I have to peel that thing, yeah. I don't even really peel it. I, like, scoop it out with a spoon. Yeah, scoop that thing out with a spoon. I can't eat that fuzzy skin. It's too weird. Nebu says, personalities. Debadai says, my mealtime currently consists of instant ramen, bread and biscuits, and tons of coffee. That actually sounds really delicious. That actually sounds great. I don't know that I've ever had ramen for breakfast, but I do like ramen for lunch. Where's the pizza? Okay, let's see. Oh, we're actually almost done with this one. I want to know how it ends. I don't think I've ever finished reading this version. The king's son said he was to send her up to him, but the mother answered, oh no, she is much too dirty. She cannot show herself. He absolutely insisted on it, and Cinderella had to be called. She first washed her hands and face clean, and then went and bowed down before the king's son, who gave her the golden shoe. Then she seated herself on a stool, drew her foot out of the heavy wooden shoe, and put it into the slipper, which fit like a glove. And when she rose up, and the king's son looked at her face, he recognized the beautiful maiden who had danced with him and cried, that is the true bride. Well, now he recognizes her. The stepmother and 2 sisters were terrified and became pale with rage. He, however, took Cinderella on his horse and rode away with her. As they passed by the hazel tree, the 2 white doves cried, turn and peep, no blood is in the shoe. The shoe is not too small for her, the true bride rides with you. And when they had cried that, the 2 came flying down and placed themselves on Cinderella's shoulders, one on the right, the other on the left, and remained sitting there. When the wedding with the king's son was celebrated, the 2 false sisters came and wanted to get into favor with Cinderella and share her good fortune. When the betrothed couple went to church, the elder was at the right side and the younger at the left, and the pigeons pecked out one eye of each of them. Afterwards, as they came back, the elder was on the left and the younger on the right, and then the pigeons pecked out the other eye of each, and thus, for their wickedness and falsehood, they were punished with blindness as long as they lived. Wow, these fairy tales really go hard, you guys. They really do. My favorite what am I trying to say? Actually, my favorite version of the Cinderella story is the movie Ever After. I absolutely love that movie with Drew Barrymore. I don't remember what year it came out. I want to say it was late 90s or early 2000s maybe, but I absolutely love that movie. It's so cute. It's so just I don't know, it's just like so cozy and I love it. Let's see. Jebediah, you can order the pizza. Order the pizza. Make them bring it to you. Make them bring you the tasties. Ding Dong says, bruh, my pizza place is 5 minutes walk away, but that's bad because I went there too many times. Nebby says, the stepmom's face when the prince seems more excited at learning that Cinderella is dirty. He's into soot and sparkly shoes, that's all we know. Yeah, the pigeons pecked out the pigeon behavior, that's right. The pigeons pecked out the stepsister's eyes because they were super, super rude to her. And they got what they deserved. I told you, these Grimm's fairy tales go hard, guys. Fortunately, my home is out from any delivery service except for the debt collector. No, not the debt collector. We say boo to the debt collector. Okay, we're just gonna read the next one because I don't know this one. It's actually really short. This one's called The Riddle. I feel like these are sort of akin to like, sort of, reading, oh gosh, why can't I think right now? Reading Edgar Allan Poe in a way, because they're sort of like darker fairy tales, right? Yeah, maybe not as dark as Edgar Allan Poe, but kind of. Maybe some of them. Let's see, what about The Girl Without Hands? Is that one? Is that one? See, it sounds like it's probably one. Alright. I don't know if that truly is one. I'll have to look it up in the book and see, is that really one of them, Nebu? I'm actually not that familiar with these. I've had this book for a long time. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of them I'm not familiar with. You don't know, but I'm told it's pretty dark. Okay, it sounds pretty dark. This one's called The Riddle. There was once a king's son who was seized with a desire to travel about the world, and took no one with him but a faithful servant. Excuse me. One day he came to a great forest, and when darkness overtook him, he could find no shelter and knew not where to pass the night. Then he saw a girl who was going towards a small house, and when he came nearer, he saw that the maiden was young and beautiful. He spoke to her and said, "Dear child, can I and my servant find shelter for the night in the little house?" "Oh yes," said the girl in a sad voice, "that you certainly can, but I do not advise you to venture it. Do not go in." "Why not?" asked the king's son. The maiden sighed and said, "My stepmother practices wicked arts. She is ill-disposed towards strangers." Then he saw very well that he had come to the house of a witch, but as it was dark and he could not go farther, and also was not afraid, he entered. The old woman was sitting in an armchair by the fire and looked at the stranger with her red eyes. "Good evening," growled she, and pretended to be quite friendly. "Take a seat and rest yourselves." She blew up the fire at which she was cooking something in a small pot. The daughter warned the two to be prudent, to eat nothing and drink nothing, for the old woman brewed evil drinks. They slept quietly until early morning, when they were readying for their departure, and the king's son was already seated on his horse. The old woman said, "Stop a moment, I will first hand you a parting draught." While she fetched it, the king's son rode away, and the servant who had to buckle his saddle-tide was the only one present when the wicked witch came with the drink. "Take that to your master," said she. But at that instant the glass broke, and the poison spurted on the horse, and it was so strong that the animal immediately fell down dead. The servant ran after his master and told him what had happened, but would not leave his saddle behind him and run back to fetch it. When, however, he came to the dead horse, a raven was already sitting on it, devouring it. It's a strong poison, it really is. I mean, it's a magical poison too, right? Let's see, debt pizza, oh no. No more taking loans, please. That's right. Tantalus, hello, hello. Thank you for the lurk. I really appreciate it. You sleep, but you also lurk. Happy birthday, Subathon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the lurk, and I hope you get some good sleep. Have a sleepy, sleepy, cozy times. And if you're not already following Tantalus, please do so. Amazing, wonderful streamer. They were playing Elden Ring, most likely the crowd control Elden Ring, I bet. Which
Give
was...
him the bits!
Oh gosh.
The bits! The bits! The bits! The bits! The
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Take it easy on the counter, will you?
I thought I turned that off, you guys. I'm so sorry. It was so startling. Thank you so much, Danilis, for the biddies. I really appreciate it. The sleepy biddies. Well, ASMR alerts. I know. That was amazing. If you don't already know, that sound is from Steven Universe, and I absolutely adore it. But a little bit of ASMR startlement, right? Startlement. Thank you so much for the bits, Danilis. I really appreciate it. I have to count them. I have to keep track in my little notebook. Gotta count them biddies. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let's see. I do have a spin wheel for every 50 bits. I actually changed it for the ASMR stream. So for ASMR streams, the spin wheel has like different sounds on it. And then a couple of them says that I have to sing a Disney song. But yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And have a wonderful evening and a good sleep. Good night, uppies puppies. Yes, uppies puppies. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Oh my god.
The bits. Okay. Take it easy on the counter, will you?
You heard 2 wheels. That's right. Thank you so much for the biddies. I really appreciate it. Alright, let's get our wheel spin out. Let's see what we got. See what we got, guys. Let's see. Wheel spin. Do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the biddies. Let's see. Where is my wheel spin? Here it is. Lunch. Alright. And then we go here. Go to spin wheel. It's gonna show it. There it goes. Alright, so we've got Book Tappy's Wooden Spoon Lizard, which is where I take my wooden spoon and kind of move it across this little wooden lizard guy I have. Sort of like a wooden frog if you ever played those instruments in like elementary school, like I did. Glass bottle tappies. I have this really pretty glass bottle that kind of reminds me of like a magical dragon potion. I don't know. It's like the outside of it looks like dragon scales to me. It's really pretty. It's like a light blue color. Then we have 2 Disney, sing a Disney song on the wheel. And then we have wooden spoon tappies and a cork pop sound and crinkle sound. Alright, let's spin it, guys. See what we get. What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? Ooh, oh, did we get sing a Disney song? Hell yeah, we did. What song should we sing? If you're still there, Tantalus, you can totally choose the Disney song that you want me to sing. It's gonna be in my quiet ASMR voice, though, but you can choose anyone. And if I have to look up lyrics, then I will do so. There's a good chance I'll know it, but it depends what it is. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. But yeah, totally up to you if you want to choose a Disney song. If not, I can choose. Let's see. Oh, You're Welcome, the song. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I used to have that one memorized. I think I'm gonna have to look up the lyrics for it though, because it's been a hot minute since I've listened to it. Let's see. I haven't even seen the second Moana yet. I need to do that. Let me get rid of my spin wheel here. Okay. So let's see. I love that song. It's such a fun one. Dwayne Johnson did a really good job with it. Look up the lyrics. Let's see. Hopefully these will be the correct lyrics too. Oh gosh, I'm like struggling to remember how it even goes. Alright, I'm gonna mute my I'm gonna mute my background noise here for a second. To listen to it at the very beginning because I know I'm gonna get it once I listen to a smidge of it. Okay, I think I got it, guys. I think I got it. A smidge, that's right. Okay, let's see. Alright, I see what's happening, yeah. You're face to face with greatness and it's strange. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. Well, it's nice to see the humans never change. Open your eyes, let's begin. Yes, it's really me. It's Maui. Breathe it in. I know it's a lot, the hair, the bod, when you're staring at a demigod. What can I say except you're welcome for the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary demiguy. Hey, what has two thumbs and pulled up the sky when you were waddling yay high the sky? When the nights got cold, who stole you fire from down below? You're looking at him, yo. Oh, also I lassoed the sun. You're welcome to stretch the days and bring you fun. Also I harnessed the breeze. You're welcome to feel your sails and shake your trees. So what can I say except you're welcome for the islands I pulled from the sea. There's no need to pray, it's okay, you're welcome, huh? I guess it's just my way of being me. You're welcome, you're welcome. Let's see, well, come to think of it, kid, honestly I could go on and on. I can explain every natural phenomenon. The tide, the grass, the ground. Oh, that was Maui just messing around. I killed an eel and buried its guts. Sprouted a tree, now you got coconuts. What's the lesson? What is the takeaway? Don't mess with Maui when he's on a breakaway. It's so hard to do. And the tapestry here in my skin is a map of the victories I win. Look where I've been, I make everything happen. Look at that mean mini Maui just tickety-tappin'. Ha ha ha, hey. Well, anyway, let me say you're welcome for the wonderful world you know. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. Well, come to think of it, I gotta go. Hey, it's your day to say you're welcome, 'cause I'm gonna need that boat. I'm sailing away, away, you're welcome, 'cause Maui can do everything but float. You're welcome, and thank you. I was totally probably really off key with that. I haven't sang that in such a long time. I love all the emojis, you guys. They're so cute, all the emotes. Thank you so much, Tantalus, for the biddies. I really appreciate it. That was super fun. I did amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. My favorite part is like the fast talking, right? Like the rapping. I love that part so much. I'm gonna have to brush up on that one. I'm gonna have to listen to it tomorrow now. I have it on a playlist. Tantalus says, I do have to go. I hope the next wheel is just as fun. I have to wake in like 5 hours. Oh my goodness, get some sleep, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Good night, you're the best. Know you the best. Alright, have a good one, and thank you again. Let's see. Alright. What were we reading? Oh yes. The witch poisoned the horse. Oh no. Oh yes, and now we're going from really fun Disney lightheartedness to like a raven eating a dead horse. So sorry, you guys. Alright, let's see, but I want to know what happens. Who knows knows whether we shall find anything better today, said the servant, so he killed the raven and took it with him. And now they journeyed onwards into the forest the whole day, but could not get out of it. By nightfall they found an inn and entered it. Wait, why did he kill the raven? Wait, I'm so confused. Didn't he want... He wanted the saddle. Couldn't he have just taken the saddle off the horse? But he took a raven instead. Maybe he's gonna eat it? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Enough speculation. I just need to find out what's gonna happen. By nightfall they found an inn and entered it. The servant gave the raven to the innkeeper to make ready for supper. They had, however, stumbled on a den of murderers, and during the darkness 12 of these came, intending to kill the strangers and rob them. Before they set about this work, they sat down to supper, and the innkeeper and the witch sat down with them, and together they ate a dish of soup in which was cut up the flesh of the raven. Hardly, however, had they swallowed a couple of mouthfuls before they all fell down dead, for the raven had passed on to them the poison from the horseflesh. Okay. There was no one else left in the house but the innkeeper's daughter, who was honest and had taken no part in their godless deeds. She opened all doors to the stranger and showed him the heaped up treasures. But the king's son said she might keep everything. He would have none of it, and rode onwards with his servant. Well, that's nice. After they had traveled about for a long time, they came to a town in which was a beautiful but proud princess, who had caused it to be proclaimed that whoever should set her a riddle which she could not guess, that man should be her husband. But if she guessed it, his head must be cut off. Oh my goodness. She had 3 days to guess it in. But she was so clever that she always found the answer to the riddle given her before the appointed time. 9 suitors had already perished in this manner when the king's son arrived, and blinded by her great beauty was willing to stake his life for it. Then he went to her and laid his riddle before her. "What is this?" said he. "One slew none, and yet slew 12. You want to give her a riddle, nephew? She did not know what that was. She thought and thought, but she could not find out. She opened her riddle books, but it was not in them. Oh, I see how it is. She's gotta go Google it, basically. Isn't that cheating, though? Let's see. In short, her wisdom was at an end. As she did not know how to help herself, she ordered her maid to creep into the lord's sleeping chamber and listen to his dreams, and thought that he would perhaps speak in his sleep and discover the riddle. But the clever servant had placed himself in the bed instead of his master, and when the maid came there, he tore off from her the mantle in which she had wrapped herself, and chased her out with rods. What? So confused. The second night, the king's daughter sent her maid-in-waiting, who was to see if she could succeed better in listening. But the servant took her mantle also away from her, and hunted her out with rods. What does that even mean, you guys? What is her mantle? So confused. Now the master believed himself safe for the 3rd night, and lay down in his own bed. Then came the princess herself, and she had put on a misty gray mantle. Is it like her clothes? And she seated herself near him, and when she thought that he was asleep and dreaming, she spoke to him, and hoped that he would answer in his sleep, as many do. But he was awake, and understood and heard everything quite well. Then she asked, "One slew none. What is that?" He replied, "A raven, which ate of a dead and poisoned horse, and died of it." She inquired further, "And yet slew 12. What is that?" He answered, "That means 12 murderers who ate the raven and died of it." When she knew the answer to the riddle, she wanted to steal away, but he held her mantle so fast that she was forced to leave it behind. Next morning, the king's daughter announced that she had guessed the riddle, and sent for the 12 judges, and expounded it before them. But the youth begged for a hearing, and said, "She stole into my room in the night and questioned me, otherwise she could have not discovered it." The judges said, "Bring us proof of this." Then the 3 mantles were brought by the servant, and when the judges saw the misty gray one, which the king's daughter usually wore, they said, "Let the mantle be embroidered with gold and silver, and then it will be your wedding mantle." I see. But couldn't he have just, like, let her not guess it for 3 days? I suppose that wouldn't have been such an interesting story then, though. Maybe. Let's see. Let's find another one. I'm actually going to go into the contents now and see what else we can find. We could do Rapunzel. Let's do Rapunzel. Yes, there's so many that I don't recognize. I feel like Hansel and Gretel is going to be pretty dark. I think Rapunzel is pretty dark too. I think Rapunzel involves someone getting their eyes poked out as well. What is it with the eyes getting poked out, guys? Let's see. Alright, Rapunzel. This one might be a long one too. Well, not too much. Alright. Some of these are surprisingly short. Rapunzel. There were once a man and a woman who had long in vain wished for a child. At length the woman hoped that God was about to grant her desire. These people had a little window at the back of her house from which a splendid garden could be seen, which was full of the most beautiful flowers and herbs. It was, however, surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to go into it, because it belonged to an enchantress named Dame Gothel, who had great power and was dreaded by all the world. One day the woman was standing by this window and looking down into the garden, when she saw a bed which was planted with the most beautiful rampion, Rapunzel, and it looked so fresh and green that she longed for it and had the greatest desire to eat some. This desire increased every day, and as she knew that she could not get any of it, she quite pined away and looked pale and miserable. Then her husband was alarmed and asked, "What ails you, dear wife?" "Ah," she replied, "if I can't get some of that rampion, which is in the garden behind our house, I shall die. I have never craved lettuce so strongly in my life." I'm just saying. Like, lettuce is good, but I don't know that I've ever had that strong of a craving for it. Also, as I'm reading these, especially this one, I'm reminded of the musical Into the Woods, which I love. I love the original stage production of it, but I also love the Disney version of it a lot as well. Let's see, because they stick more to these versions of the stories in the musical, and it's very sad. It's very dark, but it was really good. Everyone in the movie did a really good job, and the stage production as well. Okay. The man who loved her thought, "Sooner than let your wife die, bring her some of the rampion yourself, let it cost you what it will." In the twilight of the evening, he clambered down over the wall into the garden of the enchantress, hastily clutched a handful of rampion, and took it to his wife. She at once made herself a salad of it, and ate it with much delight. She, however, liked it so much, so very much, that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as before. If he was to have any rest, her husband must once more descend into the garden. In the golden gloom of evening, therefore, he let himself down again. But when he had clambered down the wall, he was terribly afraid, for he saw the enchantress standing before him. Ding Dong says, "The bow I come back and all Teppy has said that they are hungry and telling me not to get more loans." That's right. "How can you dare," said she with an angry look, "to descend into my garden and steal my rampion like a thief? You shall suffer for it." "Ah," answered he, "let mercy take the place of justice. I only made up my mind to do it out of necessity. My wife saw your rampion from the window, and felt such a longing for it that she would have died if she had not got some to eat." Then the enchantress allowed her anger to be softened, and said to him, "If the case be as you say, I will allow you to take away with you as much rampion as you will. Only I make one condition. You must give me the child which your wife will bring into the world. It will be well treated, and I will care for it like a mother." The man in his terror consented to everything, and when the woman gave birth, the enchantress appeared at once, gave the child the name of Rapunzel, and took it away with her. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child beneath the sun. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress shut her into a tower, which lay in a forest and had neither stairs nor door, but quite at the top was a little window. When the enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath it and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Let's see, Tepidai says, "Your impulse buying is concerning." Ding Dong says, "Also thanks for the SMR. It was nice to have something to listen again, but I gotta go be a cronge corp." It's not okay. I was like, what's a cronge? I like cronge better. Cronge, so cronge. Cronge corp. Have a wonderful day at work, Ding Dong, and thank you for the subby, and thank you for the lurk. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold, and when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses, wound them round one of the hooks of the window above, and then the hair fell 20 ells down, and the enchantress climbed up by it. After a year or two, it came to pass that the king's son rode through the forest and went by the tower. Then he heard a song which was so charming that he stood still and listened. This was Rapunzel, who in her solitude passed her time in letting her sweet voice resound. The king's son wanted to climb up to her and looked for the door of the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart that every day he went into the forest and listened to it. Once, when he was thus standing behind a tree, he saw that an enchantress came there, and he heard how she cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Also, Tubby you bought more stuff, Ding Dong. Let's see. Then Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I will at once try my fortune," said he, and the next day when it began to grow dark, he went to the tower and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Immediately the hair fell down, and the king's son climbed up. At first Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man such as her eyes had never yet beheld came to her, but the king's son began to talk to her quite like a friend, and told her that his heart had been so stirred that it had let him have no rest, and he had been forced to see her. Wouldn't she have recognized that it wasn't Mother Gothel's voice, though? I'm sorry, I can't help it, you guys. I seem to be picking apart these fairy tales, which is silly to do because they are fairy tales after all. Maybe she has a very masculine voice. That is a good point. She might. Let's see. So then Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she would take him for her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, "He will love me more than old Dame Gothel does." And she said yes, and laid her hand in his. Wow. She's just like, this hottie's probably gonna treat me better than Mother Gothel, so sure, why not? She said, "I will willingly go away with you, but I do not know how to get down. Bring with you a skein of silk every time that you come, and I will weave a ladder with it, and when that is ready I will descend, and you will take me on your horse." He agreed that until that time he should come to her every evening, for the old woman came by day. The enchantress remarked nothing of this until once Rapunzel said to her, "Tell me, Dame Gothel, how it happens that you are so much heavier for me to draw up than the young king's son. He is with me in hardly a minute." Oh no. She let it out. "Ah, you wicked child," cried the enchantress. "What do I hear you say? I thought I had separated you from all the world, and yet you have deceived me." In her anger, she clutched Rapunzel's beautiful tresses, wrapped them twice round her left hand, seized a pair of scissors with the right, and snip, snap, they were cut off, and the lovely braids lay on the ground. And she was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into a desert, where she had to live in great grief and misery. On the same day that she cast out Rapunzel, the enchantress fastened the braids of hair which she had kept onto the hook of the window, and in the evening when the king's son came by, cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." See, I feel like they could have just done that in the first place. Like, the prince could have cut off her hair, and then they could have both climbed down, and then they would have been free of Mother Gothel, right? With a really sweet short haircut. Nebu says that's what I would do if it was a girl who climbed into my tower. Simmer down, Nebu, simmer down. Yeah, couldn't they have just cut her hair off? And then both descended? Let's see. I know, you guys, these are fairy tales. It doesn't have to make sense. That's why they're fairy tales. Let's see. She let the hair down. The king's son ascended, but he did not find his dearest Rapunzel above, but the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. "Aha!" she cried mockingly. "You would fetch your dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer singing in the nest. The cat has got it, and will scratch out your eyes as well. Rapunzel is lost to you. You will never see her more." The king's son was beside himself with pain, and in the despair he leapt down from the tower. He escaped with his life, but the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. There go the eyeballs, guys. Then he wandered quite blind about the forest, ate nothing but roots and berries, and did nothing but lament and weep over the loss of his dearest wife. Thus he roamed about in misery for some years, and at length came to the desert where Rapunzel, with the twins to which she had given birth, a boy and a girl. Oh, okay, lived in wretchedness. I see. Oh my goodness, you guys, I don't know. I don't know what has gotten into me, but for some reason, when it said, like, his eyes got poked out and he was eating, like, roots and berries, I just imagined him, like, wandering around the forest, just, like, shoving berries into his mouth and crying, like, the whole time, and just the image of that cracks me up for some reason. And apparently, they were doing more than talking in that tower, because now she has twins. And they live in the desert. Alright, 2 of her tears wetted his eyes. Oh, wait. Okay. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it, and when he approached, Rapunzel knew him and embraced him and wept. 2 of her tears wetted his eyes, and they grew clear again, and he could see with them as before. He led her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully received, and they lived for a long time afterwards, happy and contented. That one has a nice ending, though. I really like how that one ends. That was a good one. Alright, so let's find another. I'll probably do a couple more and then call it the end of the stream, because I am very sleepy. And I too need to get some sleepy steps. Let's see. There's so many. There's one called Donkey Cabbages. The girl with no hands. Oh, yes. Let's see if I can find it, though. I really do wish that this was in alphabetical order. It would be so much easier for my brain. The girl with no hands, let me see. This might take me a minute, guys. There's a whole lot of stories that begin with the. Little Red Cap. I wonder if that's like Little Red. Oh, here it is. Little Red Riding Hood. The Girl Without Hands, page 112. How many pages are in this book, you ask? Well, I shall tell you. I shall tell you how many pages are in this book. There's legends too, apparently. There are 652 pages. How many pages are in this book? 652, if you can believe it. What did I say? 112? I think so. Yep, 112. Alright, apparently this is a spooky one. How many of them are pictures? 0. 0 of them are pictures. And the print is small. Let's see. But the pages are sprayed with gold on the outside. And it's really quite lovely. Okay, I think there are pictures somewhere. There's a picture, I think there's one picture. And it is a picture of the brothers Grimm, I do believe. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Is this the only picture? Yep, there's one picture. And it's a portrait of the brothers Grimm, you guys. Okay, let's see. Debbie says, I want 10 text pages and 602 picture pages. I do love me some picture books, not gonna lie. I actually read a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot. I do enjoy reading webcomics, like on Webtoon, and graphic novels. Those are my favorite. Those are just basically grown-up picture books, right? Isn't that just what comics are? Grown-up picture books. Let's see. The Girl Without Hands. A certain miller had little by little fallen into poverty and had nothing left but his mill and a large apple tree behind it. Once, when he had gone into the forest to fetch wood, an old man stepped up to him whom he had never seen before and said, Why do you plague yourself with cutting wood? I will make you rich if you will promise me what is standing behind your mill. What can that be but my apple tree? Thought the miller, and said yes, and gave a written promise to the stranger. Wow, he didn't even think to ask what it was. He, however, laughed mockingly and said, when 3 years have passed, I will come and carry away what belongs to me. And then he went. This is why you draft a, what am I trying to say? This is why you have to get it in writing exactly what it is. And not just agree to things willy-nilly, guys. Let's see, Nebu says, I look at lots of grown-up pictures books. You look at lots of grown-up picture books. That's what Reddit is for, Nebu. That's what Reddit is for, okay. Let's see. Don't ask me how I know that. Let's see, okay. Yeah, see, you gotta get it in writing, guys. How do you know that? Because I know. When the miller got home, his wife came to meet him and said, Tell me, miller, from where comes this sudden wealth into our house? All at once every box and chest was filled, no one brought it in, and I know not how it happened. He answered, It comes from a stranger who met me in the forest and promised me great treasure. I, in return, have promised him what stands behind the mill. We can very well give him the big apple tree for it. Ah, husband, said the terrified wife, that must have been the devil. He did not mean the apple tree, but our daughter, who was standing behind the mill, sweeping the yard. The miller's daughter was a beautiful, God-fearing girl, and lived through the 3 years in piety and without sin. When therefore the time was over, and the day came when the evil one was to fetch her, she washed herself clean, and made a circle round herself with chalk. The devil appeared quite early, but he could not come near her. Angrily he said to the miller, Take all water away from her, that she may no longer be able to wash herself, for otherwise I have no power over her. The miller was afraid and did so. Oh, come on. Why did he listen to the devil? Why? Just why? The next morning the devil came again, but she had wept on her hands, and they were quite clean. Again he could not get near her, and furiously said to the miller, Cut her hands off, or else I cannot get the better of her. Couldn't she just, I don't know, weep on her shoulder or something? The miller was shocked and answered, How could I cut off my own child's hands? Then the evil one threatened him and said, If you do not do it, you are mine, and I will take you yourself. The father became alarmed and promised to obey him, so he went to the girl and said, My child, if I do not cut off both your hands, the devil will carry me away, and in my terror I have promised to do it. Help me in my need, and forgive me the harm I do you. She replied, Dear father, do with me what you will, I am your child. That is awful. Thereafter she laid down both her hands and let them be cut off. The devil came for the 3rd time, but she had wept so long and so much on the stumps that after all they were quite clean. Then he had to give in and had lost all right over her. Wow, I have no words. The miller said to her, Because of you I have received such great wealth that I will keep you most delicately as long as you live. But she replied, Here I cannot stay. I will go forth. Compassionate people will give me as much as I require. Thereupon she had her maimed arms bound to her back, and by sunrise she set out on her way, and walked the whole day until night fell. Then she came to a royal garden, and by the shimmering of the moon she saw the trees covered with beautiful fruits grew in it, but she could not enter, for there was much water round about it, and as she had walked the whole day and not eaten one mouthful, the hunger tormented her. She thought, if I were but inside, then I might eat the fruit, else I might die of hunger. Then she knelt down, called on God the Lord, and prayed, and suddenly an angel came towards her, who made a dam in the water, so that the moat became dry, and she could walk through it. And now she went into the garden, and the angel went with her. She saw a tree covered with beautiful pears, but they were all counted. Then she went to them, and to still her hunger ate one with her mouth from the tree, but no more. The gardener was watching, but as the angel was standing by, he was afraid and thought the maiden was a spirit, and was silent, neither did he dare to cry out or to speak to the spirit. When she had eaten the pear, she was satisfied, and went and concealed herself among the bushes. The king to whom the garden belonged came down to it next morning, and counted, and saw that one of the pears was missing, and asked the gardener what had become of it, as it was not lying beneath the tree, but was gone. Then answered the gardener, "Last night a spirit came in who had no hands and ate off one of the pears with its mouth." The king said, "How did the spirit get over the water, and where did it go after it had eaten the pear?" The gardener answered, "Someone from heaven came in a snow-white garment." Oh, you know what I just realized, you guys? I'm so sorry. I never put back on my ambient noise. There we go. It is called, what is it called? Ambient noise is forest wind summer ambient noise. And if it is too loud, let me know and I can turn it down a bit. Okay. The gardener answered, "Someone from heaven came in a snow-white garment and made a dam and kept back the water that the spirit might walk through the moat. And as it must have been an angel, I was afraid and asked no questions and did not cry out. When the spirit had eaten the pear, it went back again. The king said, 'If it is as you say, I will watch with you tonight.' While it grew dark, the king came into the garden and brought a priest with him, who was to speak to the spirit. All three seated themselves beneath the tree and watched. At midnight, the maiden came creeping out of the thicket, went to the tree, and again ate one pear off it with her mouth, and beside her stood the angel in white garments. Then the priest went out to them and said, 'Come you from heaven or from earth? Are you a spirit or a human being?' She replied, 'I am no spirit, but an unhappy mortal, deserted by all but God.' The king said, 'Though you are forsaken by all the world, I will not forsake you.' He took her with him into his royal palace, and she was so beautiful and good, he loved her with all his heart, had silver hands made for her, and took her for his wife." Ooh, she got fancy hands, guys. Fancy silver hands. I need to go grab some water. I will be right back. Oops, that was the spooky one. I guess that works though. These are kind of spooky tales. These are kind of scary tales. This is the one I wanted though. Hello, hello. Here, I'll come back for just a second. I was just about to go grab some water, but hello, welcome in. I will be right back. I'm going to grab some water. Alright, I am back. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the chat. We are doing some ASMR Storytime tonight, reading Grimm's Fairy Tales. And if you are not familiar with me, I am Bunny Celeste. I am a variety streamer. I play a little bit of everything, and right now we are doing a super chill summer birthday subathon. If you'd like to look at the pinned message in the chat, there is a link to my rewards menu for the subathon if you are interested. But we're doing it all month long. But yes, welcome in. Right now we are reading a Grimm's fairy tale called The Girl Without Hands. Now she has some very fancy silver hands. After a year, the king had to go to war, so he placed his young queen in the care of his mother and said, "If she is brought to bed, take care of her, nurse her well, and tell me of it at once in a letter." Then she gave birth to a fine boy, so the old mother made haste to write and announce the joyful news to him. But the messenger rested by a brook on the way, and as he was fatigued by the great distance, he fell asleep. Then came the devil, who was always seeking to injure the good queen, and exchanged the letter for another, in which was written that the queen had brought a monster into the world. Oh no! When the king read the letter, he was shocked and much troubled, but he wrote an answer that they were to take great care of the queen and nurse her well until his arrival. The messenger went back with the letter, but rested at the same place and again fell asleep. Then came the devil once more and put a different letter in his pocket, in which It was written that they were to put the queen and her child to death. The old mother was terribly shocked when she received the letter, and could not believe it. She wrote back again to the king, but received no other answer, because each time the devil substituted a false letter, and in the last letter it was also written that she was to preserve the queen's tongue and eyes as a token that she had obeyed. Oh dear. But the old mother wept to think such innocent blood was to be shed, and had a doe brought by night and cut out her tongue and eyes, and kept them. Then said she to the queen, I cannot have you killed as the king commands, but here you may stay no longer. Go forth into the wide world with your child, and never come here again. The poor woman tied her child on her back, and went away with eyes full of tears. She came into a great wild forest, and then she fell on her knees and prayed to God, and the angel of the Lord appeared to her, and led her to a little house on which was a sign with the words, Here all dwell free. Let's see. Nebu's... Wait, what? Are you saying it was the devil, Nebu, that's sending troll messages? Is that what you're saying? The devil's just a troll. That's funny. Let's see. A snow-white maiden came out of the little house and said, Welcome, Lady Queen, and led her inside. Then they unbound the little boy from her back and held him to her breast that he might feed, and laid him in a beautifully made little bed. Then said the poor woman, How do you know that I was a queen? The white maiden answered, I am an angel sent by God to watch over you and your child. The queen stayed 7 years in the little house and was well cared for, and by God's grace, because of her piety, her hands which had been cut off grew once more. Ooh, she grew back her hands. That's good. I don't know though, silver hands are pretty cool, just saying. At last the king came home again from the war, and his first wish was to see his wife and child. Then his aged mother began to weep and said, You wicked man, why did you write to me that I was to take those 2 innocent lives? And she showed him the 2 letters which the evil one had forged, and then continued, I did as you bade me. And she showed the tokens, the tongue and eyes. Then the king began to weep for his poor wife and his little son so much more bitterly than she was doing, that the aged mother had compassion on him and said, Be at peace, she still lives. I secretly had a doe killed and took these tokens from it. But I bound the child to your wife's back and bade her go forth into the wide world, and made her promise never to come back here again because you were so angry with her. Wow, she was like, just kidding, trolled you. Actually, they're alive. Nebu says, but if it's sus pictures, then probably really is me and not the devil. I believe that 100%, Nebu. Let's see. Okay. Then spoke the king, I will go as far as the sky is blue, and will neither eat nor drink until I have found again my dear wife and my child, if in the meantime they have not been killed or died of hunger. Thereupon the king traveled about for 7 long years, and sought her in every cleft of the rocks and in every cave, but he did not find her, and thought she had died of want. During the whole of this time he neither ate nor drank, but God supported him. At length he came into a great forest, and found therein the little house whose sign was, Here all dwell free. Then forth came the white maiden, took him by the hand, led him in, and said, Welcome, Lord King, and asked him from where he came. He answered, I have traveled about for the space of 7 years. Oh, wow. And I seek my wife and her child, but cannot find them. The angel offered him meat and drink, but he did not take anything, and only wished to rest a little. Then he lay down to sleep, and put a handkerchief over his face. Thereupon the angel went into the chamber where the queen sat with her son, whom she usually called Sorrowful, and said to her, Go out with your child, your husband is come. So she went to the place where he lay, and the handkerchief fell from his face. Then she said, Sorrowful, pick up your father's handkerchief and cover his face again. The child picked it up and put it over his face again. The king in his sleep heard what passed, and had pleasure in letting the handkerchief fall once more. But the child grew impatient and said, Dear mother, how can I cover my father's face when I have no father in this world? I have learnt to say the prayer, Our Father, which art in heaven. You have told me that my father was in heaven and was the good God, and how can I recognize a wild man like this? He is not my father. When the king heard that, he got up and asked who they were. Then she said, I am your wife, and that is your son, Sorrowful. And he saw her living hands and said, "My wife had silver hands." She answered, "The good God has caused my natural hands to grow again." And the angel went into the inner room and brought the silver hands and showed them to him. Then he knew for a certainty that it was his dear wife and his dear child, and he kissed them and was glad and said, "A heavy stone has fallen from off my heart." Then the angel of God gave them one meal with her, and after that they went home to the king's aged mother. There were great rejoicings everywhere, and the king and queen were married again and lived contentedly to their happy end. Well, at least it was a happy ending, I guess. What? I don't understand the handkerchief thing. I don't either. I don't know. I'm so confused. Why am I so confused? I'm not okay, guys. I'm not trying to like throw shade at these fairy tales. Seriously. I think it's just that they were written so long ago and they're just meant to be fantastical that like my logical brain is like, but this doesn't make sense, you guys. Which is saying something, because I'm not like logical at all. Like, I love fairy tales, I love silliness, but some of this stuff I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, why wouldn't they just do it this way? It would have been so much easier. I guess that is how stories are sometimes, though, right? They make the characters do things for the drama, and you're like, that's really what it is. It's for the drama, guys. It's for the drama. And, but you're like, it would have been so much easier if they just did it this way. Nebu says, like, they put it on his face, but it fell because he wasn't sleeping. I'm really not sure, Nebu. I'm really not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh no. There's one called The Wolf and the Seven Little Kids. I don't think I want to read that one, you guys. It might not be good. Sounds kinda scary. There's one called The Star Money. A riddling tale. A Ditmarsh tale of lies. That sounds really interesting. Let's see. Nebu says, I heard someone say that if you read really old stories, if you see something that makes absolutely no sense, it might be the equivalent to a meme or reference to current famous political event, and the meaning is lost to us as, that is so interesting. Did we just get memed? Did we just get memed from like over 100 years ago? That's crazy. Like, imagine 1,000 years from now, archaeologists see something about a cat asking if it can have a cheeseburger. That's true. That's really funny. I actually do think about that stuff a lot. Yeah, I think about that stuff a lot. The one that actually really gets me is, and not to get into like, let's not get into like a big AI discussion, you guys, but, is the idea that like in photos, you can remove things from photos now, right? And so it's like when historians look back at some of our photos, they might not be seeing like the whole truth of that picture, right? There could have been like people in the background that someone erased, and they'll never know because someone erased it, and it's like they're not even seeing like the whole truth of that moment in time, and that weirds me out so much. Like, I don't like it. It's so weird. Like, I get the idea behind it, but like, yeah, I don't know. It weirds me out, guys. Let's see. There's one called The Griffin. We could read about a griffin. There's one called Donkey Cabbages. I really kind of want to know what the Donkey Cabbages is. Also, I'm a little bit concerned that like, I hope none of these have anything that is like not good to say out loud because they are so old. Don't want to get banned, guys. Let's see. Debbie says, tell them that's just what girls' lips looked like back then. Right, that's it too, like photoshopping. Yes. They're gonna think that's what we really looked like, guys, and it's not. Just a reminder, you guys, that a lot of the pictures you see on the internet have been photoshopped or you have used a filter in some way. You gotta go out and meet real people so you know what real people look like, and not just people on the interwebs. Let's see. There's one called The Owl. There's one called The Moon. The Rose. Ooh. Oh, so there's children's legends. Maybe those ones aren't as scary, perhaps. And so what are these then? And there's children's legends. These are just the stories. Okay. Oh, there is the Sleeping Beauty. We're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. This is gonna be the last one for the night, you guys. We're gonna read Sleeping Beauty. And then that's gonna be it. Let's see. Page 50. Okay, right? No, it wasn't page 50. What was it? Where'd it go? Nobby says I only date waifus from my video games. Oh, it's story number 50. It's on page 178. Okay. Let's just flip right to this. Alright. Aha. So, this one's called The Sleeping Beauty, Briar Rose. A long time ago, there were a king and queen who said every day, "Ah, if only we had a child," but they never had one. But it happened that once, when the queen was bathing, a frog crept out of the water onto the land and said to her, "Your wish shall be fulfilled. Before a year has gone by, you shall have a daughter." What the frog had said came true, and the queen had a little girl who was so pretty that the king could not contain himself for joy, and ordered a great feast. He invited not only his kindred, friends, and acquaintances, but also the wise women, in order that they might be kind and well-disposed towards the child. There were 13 of them in his kingdom, but as he had only 12 golden plates for them to eat out of, one of them had to be left at home. I love the animated Sleeping Beauty, the Disney one. It's one of my most favorite Disney films. The story kind of behind its creation is really interesting too. But yeah, it's really good. I love it. It's got a really different art style to it, and Disney spent like a whole bunch of money making it, which is probably why it turned out really good. They put a lot of time and effort into it. There's gonna be an ad in about 15 seconds or so, guys. And I cannot snooze this one, so my apologies if it's loud. Let's see. The feast was held with all manner of splendor, and when it came to an end, the wise women bestowed their magic gifts upon the baby. One gave virtue, another beauty, a third riches, and so on, with everything in the world that one can wish for. When 11 of them had made their promises, suddenly the 13th came in. She wished to avenge herself for not having been invited, and without greeting or even looking at anyone, she cried with a loud voice, "The king's daughter shall in her 15th year prick herself with a spindle and fall down dead." And without saying a word, she turned round and left the room. They were all shocked, but the 12th, whose good wish still remained unspoken, came forward, and as she could not undo the evil sentence, but only soften it, she said, "It shall not be death, but a deep sleep of 100 years, into which the princess shall fall." There's an ad break, you guys. Let's wait until the ad break is over, so nobody has to miss the story. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Just a reminder to anybody watching, especially watching the VOD, that you can find my schedule on my Discord. If you'd like to join the Discord, I will throw it up here in the chat. Welcome back from the ad break, guys. I was just saying that for anybody watching, if you'd like to join my Discord so you can see what my schedule is for the Subathon, there is the link in the chat there. Alright. So let's see. Okay. So it shall not be death, but a deep sleep of 100 years, into which the princess shall fall. The king, who wished to keep his dear child from the misfortune, gave orders that every spindle in the whole kingdom should be burned. Meanwhile, the gifts of the wise women came true for the young girl, for for she was so beautiful, modest, good-natured, and wise that everyone who saw her was bound to love her. It happened that on the very day she turned 15 years old, the king and queen were not at home, and the maiden was left at the palace quite alone. So she went round into all sorts of places, looked into rooms and bedchambers just as she liked, and at last came to an old tower. Wouldn't they have guards or anything like that, though, watching her? She climbed up the narrow, winding staircase and reached a little door. A rusty key was in the lock, and when she turned it, the door sprang open, and there in a little room sat an old woman with a spindle, busily spinning her flax. "Good day, old dame," said the king's daughter. "What are you doing there?" "I am spinning," said the old woman, and nodded her head. "What sort of thing is that rattles round so merrily?" said the girl, and she took the spindle and wanted to spin too. But scarcely had she touched the spindle when the magic decree was fulfilled, and she pricked her finger with it. And in the very moment when she felt the prick, she fell down upon the bed that stood there and lay in a deep sleep. And this sleep extended over the whole palace. The king and queen, who had just come home and had entered the great hall, began to go to sleep, and all of the court too. The horses too went to sleep in the stable, the dogs in the yard, the pigeons upon the roof, the flies on the wall, even the fire that was flaming on the hearth became quiet and slept. The roast meat left off frizzling, and the cook, who was just going to pull the hair of the kitchen boy because he had forgotten something, let him go and went to sleep. And the wind fell, and on the trees outside the castle not a leaf moved again. But round about the castle there began to grow a hedge of thorns, which every year became higher, and at last grew close up round the castle and all over it, so that there was nothing of it to be seen, not even the flag upon the roof. But the story of the beautiful sleeping Briar Rose, for so the princess was named, went about the country, so that from time to time king's sons came and tried to get through the thorny hedge into the castle. But they found it impossible, for the thorns held fast together as if they had hands, and the youths were caught in them, could not get loose again, and died a miserable death. Oh, that's terrible. I thought they were going to get their eyes poked out, because that seems to be a theme in these stories. But round about the castle there began to grow a hedge of thorns, which oh wait, we already said that. After long, long years, a king's son came again to that country, and heard an old man talking about the briar hedge, and that a castle was said to stand behind it, in which a wonderfully beautiful princess named Briar Rose had been asleep for 100 years, and that the king and queen and the whole court were asleep likewise. He had heard, too, from his grandfather that many king's sons had already come and had tried to get through the thorny hedge, but they had remained sticking fast in it and had died a pitiful death. Then the youth said, "I am not afraid. I will go and see the beautiful Briar Rose." The good old man tried to dissuade him, but he did not listen to his words. But by this time the 100 years had just passed, and the day had come when Briar Rose was to awake again. When the king's son came near to the briar hedge, it was nothing but large and beautiful flowers, which parted from each other of their own accord and let him pass unhurt. Then they closed again behind him like a hedge. In the courtyard he saw the horses and the spotted hounds lying asleep. On the roof sat the pigeons with their heads under their wings, and when he entered the house the flies were asleep upon the wall. The cook in the kitchen was still holding out his hand to seize the boy, and the maid was sitting by the black hen which she was going to pluck. He went on farther, and in the great hall he saw the whole of the court lying asleep, and up by the throne lay the king and queen. Then he went on still farther, and all was so quiet that a breath could be heard, and at last he came to the tower, and opened the door into the little room where Briar Rose was sleeping. There she lay so beautiful that he could not turn his eyes away, and he stooped down and gave her a kiss. But as soon as he kissed her, Briar Rose opened her eyes and awoke, and looked at him quite sweetly. Then they went down together, and the king awoke, and the queen, and the whole court, and looked at each other in great astonishment. And the horses in the courtyard stood up and shook themselves, the hounds jumped up and wagged their tails, the pigeons on the roof pulled out their heads from under their wings, looked round, and flew into the open country. The flies on the wall crept again, and fire in the kitchen burned up and flickered and cooked the meat. The roast began to turn and frizzle again, and the cook gave the boy such a box on the ear that he screamed, and the maid plucked the fowl ready for the spit. And then the marriage of the king's son with Briar Rose was celebrated with all splendor, and they lived contented to the end of their days. That was a good one. I actually got to see the Sleeping Beauty ballet many years ago. And it was really, really, really pretty. It was really beautiful. I've only ever seen that and the Nutcracker now, but I absolutely love it. I love ballet. And I'd like to see more. I'd like to see Swan Lake. I think that'd be a good one. Alright, Fluffle friends, that's gonna be it for story time tonight. I hope you enjoyed listening to some stories. I do apologize for my sound alerts. I thought that I had turned them off. But apparently I did not, so I will have to fix that for next time. But yes, we will be doing the Subathon all month long. We will be doing, I'm trying to do Storytime, ASMR Storytime once a week as often as I can. And yeah, we'll see what we get up to. We might read some more of these. We could do more Grimm's fairy tales, or we might look for a different thing. We could always play a game with my ASMR whispering as well. I really like doing that with Oblivion because it's such a cozy game. I will not be streaming tomorrow, but I will be back again on Thursday, which is my actual birthday. And we will be doing community game day that day. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. I'm probably gonna eat cake while we're doing it. It's gonna be awesome. Alright everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and I will see you all on Thursday. Take care.